DOIJ podcast. Today, right now, it is just me as Stephanie is sick right now, but that's right, I am back as host of this wonderful podcast. Now, you may be wondering, for those of you who have seen the other episodes of, myself as host a few months back, I think we were in the 20-something number, but you may be wondering, maybe you're not. I'm sure at least one person is, so I'm going to answer the question of why do I have it numbered at number 1? Well, that is because we're technically starting new, as I've just become host again. So I figured we start with a brand new number 1, start off fresh, nice and fresh. So let me just go ahead and post the link if I can do that. So, and I know the shooting at the high school was last week. I know it was last week. I think it was Friday. I meant to cover it that night, but I didn't get off work, and I was hoping to do it at 12 a.m. EST, so midnight Eastern Standard Time. But I got off work a little late, around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So that is why I am just now covering it, and hopefully someone will join us and voice their opinions on it. And again, no opinion is wrong opinion. So I'm going to post this real quick in our official DOIJ podcast server. If you want to join that server, then the link is in the description below. Please go ahead and click that if you want to join that. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and kind of discuss it and my thoughts and feelings on it, which are pretty much the same as probably the majority of people. But I believe, so I think I actually have an article up here, so I should be able to tell you the place. But last I heard, there was 2 people had died, 2 students had died. It was Santa Clarita School shooting is where that happened. Santa Clarita is the county, that's not the school. I believe the school is Sayaga. I do apologize. Sagas, I'm sorry. Sagas High School is the high school that it happened at. Very, very, very tragic that 2 students have lost their lives. Hello, Neo194. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining. Matter of fact, if you are in the podcast server and you want to join in and discuss, please go ahead and join the waiting room, and I'll drag you up, and hopefully you can actually talk. I think we have that problem resolved as of a few months back. So I have to go for my computer to load in to Discord again. Not sure what's up with that, but whatever. So, Sega High School. Now, don't get me wrong. It's very bad that 6. I believe it was about 6 students were shot in total. But we're very thankful that it was only 6 students shot, because I remember quite a while back, at least a decade ago. I think it was a Virginia Tech school shooting. I think it was a college. Yeah, Virginia Tech. Obviously Virginia Tech was college. But they had a massive shooting. I think it was like 20, 30 some students. I know at least 20, 30 students were shot, and I know at least a lot of them died. So it doesn't know if that died. It was a while back. I haven't had time to go and pull up an article, find an article from that. But yeah, so let me see if I gotta be looking at it, because again, I can't, for the life of me, I cannot remember. I cannot keep it in my brain on how to pronounce it. Okay. Yes, let me see here if my computer wants to reload every page. Sagas High School. Let's look at Sagas High School. Let's try and remember that. So Segas High School was the high school that got, not really shot up. It was kind of just a few students shot, but like I said, 2 lost their lives, which is obviously very tragic. And school shootings kind of seem like the norm nowadays, and it's kind of funny because and not like haha funny, but kind of ironically funny that the nation has these 2 problems, and the nation obviously has, more than 2 problems, but there are these 2 problems that could solve each other, basically. There is obviously the school shootings that happen pretty much on a monthly basis. At least what it seems like. I don't think we've had a school shooting for a while. I'm not entirely sure. I rarely keep up with the news nowadays because more often than not, it's more time. They're talking about the president, which in politics, which I just don't really have general interest in anymore. It's probably really bad, but anyway, that's another story for another podcast, whatever. But the second problem that the nation has is military veterans out of jobs, like jobless, homeless veterans. And it's kind of funny how basically these 2 problems could help solve each other to then eliminate, or at least maybe not eliminate per se, because you can never fully eliminate, the shooting, like school shootings or murders or robberies or any type of crime. And honestly, you don't really want to, because if there's no crime, there is no law enforcement. There is no law enforcement. That is hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people without jobs. And I mean, something like as bad as crime is, as much as crime is unwanted, to a certain respect, it is also wanted. Because if you don't have the crime, you don't have the cops to bust the, so you got cops out of jobs, you got detectives out of jobs, which detectives are also cops, but it's division. You got detectives out of jobs, you got the air units out of jobs, and we're looking for suspects that want to flee. You got, and not just that, not just the departments, but in the police departments and the FBI would be, if there was no crime, there was no bad guys doing bad things anywhere in the world, there'd be no FBI, there'd be no CIA, there'd be no military, there'd be, millions of people without jobs. And then also not just them, but the people that work in the prison systems, they would be out of jobs too, because they wouldn't have anybody to watch. They'd just be sitting there okay, here we go. They'd just be looking at, they'd just be walking around in a ghost town, basically, if they'd still be, sitting in a prison. I don't know, but not that even be a prison if if they weren't created in the first place. So as much as crime is unwanted, it is also needed. So yeah, but so how, and I know you probably asked me, how can those 2 problems solve each other? The, crime of these school shootings, and I sadly do not have a PC. I have a laptop, but it is just a very cheap laptop, not made for playing games. I am trying to save up for a game PC that I can game on. Hey Pop, how's it going? But yeah, so I'm working on it there. I'm working on getting a PC, and then I'm gonna hopefully use a PS4 controller on the PC, because last time I googled it, it was something that was actually something you could do. But anyway, basically how these 2 problems solve each other is you got the school shootings, you have these homeless veterans. Now sure, it would cost the schools a little bit more but honestly, it'd be worth it because it might even cost the states more, depending on who's going to be paying for it. But honestly, worth it because basically what you'd be doing, in 20 minutes, maybe if the podcast lasts that long, sure. But basically, what you'd be doing is you would be hiring the military veterans as security for the school. And let's check this one pretty good. For some reason, your videos haven't been showing up for so long. That's weird. Definitely haven't hidden my videos from anybody. I'm kidding. But yeah, that's weird. YouTube likes to glitch out and have no way of contacting the support because, bajillion-dollar company has absolutely no support. Websites or emails or phone numbers or anything, but that's beyond the point. But basically, military veterans are the best qualified to be able to, detect problems. If you hired at least, 2, 3, 4 per school, most veterans already have jobs. Not jobs, I'm sorry. Most veterans already have guns, so not only are they the most qualified to use a gun, the most qualified to look out for a problem, the most qualified to respond to a problem, but, so you won't need to train them to use a gun. You won't need to be asking or worrying about, okay, are they actually going to respond to the gunfire that's being exchanged? They're not really exchanged. To the gunfire that's going off, or are they going to run away? Because obviously they do background check to make sure they're in stable, mental and physical condition, and they don't need to be, super, in shape, Superman, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Dwayne the Rock Johnson shape. I mean, they can be a little out of shape. It's more mentally, like obviously you wouldn't want a veteran that didn't really respond well under the pressure of gunfire to be guarding your children at school. So you have to do those background checks, which would be kind of costly to find the right people. But once you find them, hey, again, they're going to respond to the gunshots. They already know how to use guns. They know how to disassemble their guns, clean their guns, load their guns. They probably make their own freaking ammunition, So, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I know some veterans I know some people like to make their own ammo. Or at least to load their own, and not really make it, but they like to load it. But yes, I mean, and then so that would save the state or the the school or whoever's paying for it, the time and money of having to go get them trained to to do all that, to use a weapon, to learn how to be accurate, and then you won't have to worry about it. You don't know if they're going to respond or not, because they're going to respond because they're they're a veteran, so they've done a combat before, and then you'd be giving them jobs. You'd be giving them a job, and yes, they'd be making some money to support themselves. I mean, depending on how much the school can afford, depends on how much they can. And again, like I said earlier, most likely they already have a gun, they already have a pistol, they already have a rifle. Because I guarantee you, most veterans own their own guns, and as you can either provide them with the gun if they don't have one, which I heavily doubt it, or you can still provide them with with a job issued firearm. But most likely you will not need to, because they'll already have one in their closet and in their safe, and obviously it's kept in the safe, up or even above their mantle, or even in their holster at any time they go out, or on their leg or whatever, so I mean, and of course schools could provide body armor if they wanted to. I mean, it's kind of, I mean, honestly, I think that would be probably the best solution to this whole problem. And again, it's not going to resolve the problem. It's not going to prevent all school shootings. I mean, now it'll probably prevent a lot of them. It'll probably cut back on it at least, I'd say at least 70-90% of school shootings. But what it will do, definitely, is it will reduce the tragedy. Some kids are in class, I'm meant to have, there's a middle school, kids comes like a run to barricaded place. Yeah, see, here's the thing. Okay, AJ Hillier, which commented the first half, that's actually, really, that's gonna be really hard to do, to make sure kids are where they're meant to be, like when they're meant to be. So that would be extremely difficult, which is kind of impossible to prevent all school shootings, 100% of school shootings. But the second part of that there should be spots where when a shooter comes, they can run to the barricaded place. That's not a classroom. I agree with that. I mean, there should be some spots that they can just go into, like some little doors, little closets, heavily fortified closets, in schools. Like, granted that take renovation work, but I agree they should have little closets or something. It doesn't have to be that exactly, where a student can just go, and if they got a shooter come down the hallway, they can't make it to the next classroom. They can't make it around the corner to the next classroom. They can just pop into the nearest little thing, lock it on the inside, and then maybe they have like a little plexiglass window, with one or two pieces of plexiglass. It's sitting there so they can look out and see, okay, this person that I might want to let in. And obviously it wouldn't be like a one student only little thing, but you could probably fit get 5, 6, 12, 13, something like that students in one of these spots, and have fenced. I don't know, but it's not my job to create them. Otherwise, I totally would, but no point in me. It's been all thought and energy. I'm not creating it, so because no one asked me to, so I don't have the money or resources to try and create it. But yeah, that is a good idea. And that's my opinion on that. That has been today's podcast. I know it's not a very long podcast. I know it's just me chatting, but as last I checked, our friend Stephanie is sick, so hopefully she gets well. Our co-host Phoenix, he, I believe, is I don't know. I actually don't recall where he is at. But there you have it. There's been today's podcast. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. I will be trying to podcast a lot more often. Next week will be a little difficult. I'll get into that on Friday's podcast. But there you have it. I'll be podcasting again tomorrow. About what, I'm not 100% sure. But if you want to join the official DOIJ podcast server, it should be the first link in the description below. If you want to join DOIJ RP, which is GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption roleplay, go and join the interview server link. That should be in the description as well. If it is not, just leave a comment or post it in the help me chat. And well, actually, if you join the server, there should be a link in the how to join. I'll be to the interview server. Again, that is GTA 5 RP for PS4, Xbox One, and PC, or also known as 5M. We also have Red Dead Redemption 2 RP for PS4 and Xbox One. I don't know about PC. I don't think PC even has online aspects yet, as Red Dead Redemption 2, I believe, literally just launched not too long ago, and they've and believe it or not, Rockstar has been having problems with their launcher. That's so that's that's Rockstar. But yeah, so do stay tuned for the next podcast. Again, if you want to join the official DOIJ podcast server, link is in the description. If you want to join DOIJ RP, link is in the description as well. You have to scroll down a little bit to find it. If you want to support this channel, please go ahead and click on one of the links in the description and make a purchase if that item interests you. Otherwise, subscribe if you have not done so already, so you know when we go live with the next podcast. The advantages of joining the podcast server is you will know ahead of time when we plan to go live and if there are any delays. Also, you can interact with us anytime outside of the podcast. So, stay tuned, stay awesome. Thank you all so much for listening in, and we will catch you next time.